be explaining how to use Power BI to create dynamic tooltips with buttons, and this is to display the DAX formula behind a measure you have created within any visual. In this current situation right here, I will be using the matrix visual to explain how to use all these functionalities. Okay, so if we go to the Power BI report on the service, the cloud. So yeah, that's the matrix, and these are the measures. If I place my mouse on top of that one, I see the formula that was used to create that. And for total sales, I see the formula and formula with a bit of context. Okay, so how have we done this? Let's go to the Power BI file. So that's the Power BI file, and I have created a manual table within Query Editor. So this is really me going to home, rather enter data. So that's home, enter data, and just manually create all that field and data in there. This is for 3 measures, and that's probably quite straightforward and easy. But if we're looking at, let's say, 20s or 40-ish measures, you probably don't want to type that manually. So you may want to connect your Power BI model to a DAX Studio and export all those metadata out in a tabular form, and then use that to drive this whole process, right? So in this instance, I've just used 3 measures, typed in the formulas and the DAX formulas, and put a bit of context just beside the measure. Okay, so that's my table, measures tooltip. And then going to the visualization area, all I've done here is placed all these buttons over the column headers and have them linked to a tooltip. So how did we achieve this? First of all, I will show you if you were going to do this manually and how painstaking that will be. Okay, so if I clicked on this button, I click on the action and I say, okay, let's say this is going to be for orders, and I want to type in distinct count order numbers. So that would be me saying equal to distinct count orders order number, right? And then yeah, I mean, if I place my mouse on that, that will give me the DAX formula, and then I could just put that on there and make it transparent, and then that would serve the purpose. But to be honest, that is so painstaking. We want something more efficient. And that's the reason why we would use the table of the list of the DAX formulas to drive it dynamically. Great. So let's do that. How do we achieve that? The first thing we want to do is create all the measures that will be used to drive the tooltip. In this instance, I have 3 measures. So I have created the 3 measures, and I've called them tooltip measure number 1 def up to 3. So if you clicked on that, all I've done is just say, using the lookup value, get me the definition using the tooltip number 1. Okay, and I've done that for the others. Get me the definition for number 2 and 3, and that has been linked to the name of the measure. Okay, so that's the measure. To make this dynamic, then I will click on that one, and then I go to the function within the action button and type, let's just look for def, and just select the first one. And then if I place my mouse on top of that, you see that gives us that. And so if I put that on top of that one there, oh, what's the matter? It's all gone. So to make this work, you probably want to remove the background. So let's switch the background off. Great. And then that should stay there nicely. And if I just place the hover on that, great. And that is it. So that's it. That's it. So if I do that for the others and just click the action button, link that to the total sales one, which is the number 2 one. So if I say def 2, that should give me total sales. I remove the background, I drag that there, I stretch it a little bit out. Great. That gives me that one. I click on this one, I remove that manual bit there. And let's be efficient. We type def, and I think that's the third one. Yep. And yeah, great. Drag that there. Extend that all the way. And remove the background. Brilliant. That's it right there. So I mean, that's how I've done this, which is really, I think this is efficient. Of course, the limitation to this is that if you're looking at so many measures you like to link this to, that's you really creating so many measures. And well, that's the solution for now. But I mean, if there's anyone out there that you think there's a more efficient solution to this, do give a shout, leave your comments below. So I would quickly explain why I have used a button and not a card. BI Elliott has done a really good video where he has used, he's called it Power BI Report Page Tooltip over any visual. This is really cool because he's used a KPI card, so that's the Power BI card visual, to link to a report page tooltip. And he's used the same concept here, and I've borrowed a bit of his idea, but that didn't quite work for me, so I had to use a button, and I'll show you why. You would probably want to use a button and not a card. Okay, so let's go here. Here, button versus card. So that's a card, and that's your Power BI card there, and that's white. But I have not linked it to any kind of source, but I can link it to an action. You see, so you know, I can link it to an action. Let's say HTTP, HTTPS, say google.com. Let's just put that there, and sorry, Q&A, and we could link. I think that's been linked to, yeah, let's do it that way. And if I did that over, I find that for this one, if I wanted to do the same thing for a card, you see that all of the other features have been grayed out. So what this means is I can't use a card that doesn't have data within it. So it needs to be linked to a kind of measure or a text of some sort to activate the features of a card. Whereas for a button, you don't need to add anything to it. So it can be blank, a blank canvas, and you could do anything with it. That's why I will go for the button. And then there is another one on top of that. So if you said, okay, fine, let me add, let's just say for tooltip, let's add that visual, and let's add that measure to the card. Then we find all of our functionalities now activated. But the problem again is in button, you have what you call action, right? And that is really cool because you could do everything within an action. You could make it a report page drill through, a report page tooltip, on page tooltip, dynamic as well. Great. But for a card, you don't have the action button. You see, all you have is just making it a tooltip, report page one, or just the default one, you know, which is really not quite helpful in this case. So that's why I've gone for the button option. So I mean, give a shout if you find other ways of using the card to achieve what a button can do. So right now, I think button takes, you know, it takes the upper league because you can do everything a card can do and even more. So yeah, I said I was going to point that out to us. There is another cool thing I have done, and that is really using BI Elite's um, um, the one I just showed us now. So that one, and all I've done now is used a bit of his content, but then created this, where you have each of the column heads linked to a report page tooltip. How cool is that? So if I hovered on Australia, that should give me a report page tooltip with a quick context to what Australia is all about. And that goes across all the countries, right? I mean, this could be reused for any other functionality you may have in mind, but this is really cool. So all I've done here is the same approach, which is this is a button. If I clicked on that, that's a button. I have created a tooltip page called TT Australia. I have what's the size of this page? It's a tooltip size, but I've just extended it a little bit. 300, 300, the width and the height, and I have turned the tooltip on, and yeah, and I've brought in that image. So that's my Australia image, and I have then gone here, put my in this instance, I have used the card. So I've used BI Elite's own approach. I've used the card. I have linked it to a measure, which I've just typed in just W's, and I have made this transparent. So that's the measure there. If I brought this out and removed the so if we go to the label, the color, right? If I made that, if I remove that, you see it's actually all W's I've typed in there. You see that in BI Elite's YouTube channel. So that's W, but this then looks really awkward when you put it there. I mean, we don't want that. So the workaround with that is we've created a measure that is really the hexa code for transparent white, and that is really 6 Fs with 2 zeros. Okay, so if I link that back to the color and say field value and type in transparent, let's look for that. That's it there. That should clear all that out. Brilliant. And then I have linked that card to the report page tooltip. I've selected report page and I've linked that to the TT Australia, and I've done that across for all the other countries. So that's another way I have used yeah, that brilliant approach there. So I mean, if there's any things you think has been done wrongly, please do leave your comments, and thanks for watching. Thank you. Bye.